All right. Well, we are live. So
Oh, there you go. I don't know if you have one like that. Do you have one where it's all Eric, it's all about your story?
Harry sort of did one like maybe a month ago where it was that was the kind of idea. He took the
Yeah,
reins as the interviewer, I think is the term.
sure, sure. Just yeah, flip the table back on you.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to talk about, I'm yours.
All right. Well, first of all, welcome to everybody who's watching. Thank you for watching and joining. And yeah, Matt, I just, I wanted to catch up with you. I thought this would be a good way to do that. And I'm just curious to know how things are going. I think you're a really great example of, I guess, like look, you're a well-run team and you're, you seem to, your projectile seemed to be very upward. And so
Oh, thank you.
how's this all going coming out of the other side of it?
Well, I guess I don't know. I think everything is really strange right now, and I think it's very regional. We're very fortunate that we're in a part of Florida that I guess stayed optimistic, stayed together through it, and I feel so bad for everybody on the East Coast, other parts of the country like Pennsylvania is where I'm from, so I'm pretty connected through social media there.
Mhm.
To answer your question, we're obviously doing less than before the virus, but it just there was so much momentum in place, and I think that speaks for a lot of people. I see other businesses, um, Five Star Window Tinting. He was just trucking through this whole period without it didn't seem like he had any slowdowns. So
Mhm.
we are really fortunate. We had the best 2 weeks of sales ever, the last 2 weeks of March. So we really had that to ride on,
Mhm.
and it's such a sad time. I mean, I don't know how bad these effects are going to be long term. I mean, tourism is really big for Florida.
Mhm.
There's so many businesses right now. I did business with people in vacation rental. All those categories are just devastated. So I don't know if that ripple effect is going to catch up to us.
Yeah.
I don't want to count everything as amazing as it is, without factoring in, maybe a month from now, there may be some reeling after effects that just sort of, come to fruition. We're so lucky. We've got really good customers, really, really good supportive people. And we've had to adjust our whole system. I know a lot of people are coming up with contactless ways to do business. I hate wearing a mask. We're kind of suffocating when we wear that. So we've gone through a couple of different styles of masks, and it's all. I mean, to be honest, for myself, it's all for the customer, because I know that we're young enough. You're younger and healthier, and you probably may never experience it, but to maybe protect the older clientele and
Right.
just be polite, I guess, is the purpose of the mask at this point. So it's a different world, different environment, and I guess regionally we're very fortunate to live where we do. Obviously, I give credit to everybody working with me and the quality and the reputation and all that keeping us forward. So
So in your area, you're saying, like that people stayed pretty optimistic in comparison to other areas of the country. As far as I know of Naples, it is kind of more of like an elderly kind of demographic. Is that still the case
yeah,
or not so much? It is, right?
oh, it is.
Retiree town, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, it there is a lot of that. We have a lot of snowbirds.
Mm-hmm.
So, but really, really wealthy snowbirds, if that's their circumstance, and if they're going back to New York or they're going back to New Jersey or they're going back to a region that's um, dangerous.
Yeah.
I like to use like Judge Judy's my when is the season starting and ending is usually when she's coming and going, and she's staying here because she doesn't want to risk getting sick up north. And I think that's the case for a lot of people that would normally have gone back, stayed here. They're probably going to start going back soon, but the first couple of weeks things were really, really quiet. But now people have hit a comfort level. Like, listen, I've been out, I've been to Publix.
Right.
I'm not I'm not too worried about it. Can you do this for me? Can you wear a mask? Can you wash your hands? And given those measures, there's people that were completely flipped out, afraid of it, wouldn't want us in their house, allowing us in their house now. So there's a little change of tides too.
So have you noticed, like, when you're obviously doing it for the customer, like you said, have you noticed like a big like people really looking for that, or is it just kind of obviously you're going to do it regardless, but like do you notice
Sure.
it being like kind of like it's unnecessary, or like you better have your mask on and so on overall?
Yeah, there are some people. I'm thinking to myself, what do we? Why are we in your house if if you're going to be sitting inside, pointing at windows and asking me to wear a mask and not come inside? Then we can't even do the work. So we'll maybe I could ballpark it for you. We'll come up with a general idea of what to do later on. I think if people are that that afraid, very few of them really commit to having us do anything. They might initially think that they want us out, but then it'll kind of catch up with them and they'll cancel back out on us. So the people that are really driving our business right now are not wearing a mask. They're shaking my hand. A couple of people are shaking my hand. There's that 50% of the population here that just is like, hey, it is what it is, and we're going to be all right. So, we're thankfully we have more people that are not worried about it than those who are really concerned about it.
So have you changed any of your like product offerings because of this, or do you plan to? Are there any additional services that you're maybe looking to add, or?
No, I'm a believer that, this is, we don't know how long this is going to be. It could be a flash in the pan. I mean, why commit myself to trying to make and manufacture or dedicate myself in some way, shape, or form to this specific event just to have the whole thing? Like there might be a piece of news that could come out next week and they'll say, hey, you know what? We were A, completely wrong about it, or B, here's a total solution that fixes it. It's gone. We don't have to worry about it. And then what do I do with my sanitization mask shield business at that point? So I don't know, to invest the capital in that and start over on something else, and then we're busy doing the wrong thing. I'm just
Right.
I think with the advertising too, I see that like when we were really the slowest, everybody was advertising. We were doing some advertising too. But now I think everybody's busy, and I don't think it's really relative to what you're spending on advertising. It's just going to get busy when it gets busy. I don't think people have to really worry about this one. I don't know. I don't know. Your viewers are all over the country. Have you spoken with people from New Jersey and New York, and
So
those environments are completely closed?
yeah, I haven't. The last time I spoke to Sean Roach on here, but that was right at the beginning of this whole thing, and he's in New York, like obviously one of the hardest hit areas. Frank just left in the comments. He said we're on the east coast of Florida. Was dead for 4 weeks. Things are starting to pick up. We're only flat, and everyone requests we wear a mask. So
Sure.
I saw a tint
That's
shop.
more.
Huh.
No, I said that's valid. Especially the East Coast is that's a stronger concentration, it seems, and definitely stricter rules.
Yeah, I mean, I think it should be like complete common sense that no matter where you stand on this, no matter what you think, whether you're doing flat or auto, a mask for everybody is 1000% more the most, like you have to like, and you might as well tell people ahead of time, I'll be wearing a mask and I'll employ, like there was a tin shop on
Sure.
Facebook saying that they won't service you if you wear a mask in their tin shop. Now, like, I don't know how
Oh
much of a
man.
Facebook flex that was, or if that's like real
Yeah.
life, but holy moly, if that's your attitude, it's got to be an uphill battle every day of your life.
Oh, you're just basically writing off a good in a down market, writing off everybody. I mean, telling everybody, it's a hoax. I mean, whatever your beliefs are, you keep that to yourself. I don't know. That's scary.
Agree. I feel like you're in business to do business. Business is making the customer happy and making you money and making everybody happy, the employee, everybody. And if
Sure.
you're coming at it with that angle, I don't think you're gonna. I think you're gonna make more people unhappy than you are happy. You
So
know.
what is your I mean, in your business too, you guys are in different parts of Florida. What is your what things have you implemented that you would recommend?
So that's a great question for David more than it is for me because like he handles 100% of like that that operations and so on. Um,
Sure.
as far as like Tint Wiz goes, we're like we could go back. I want to search for the clip, but there's like an early Tint Wiz where somebody said like, "What do you see for the future of window tint?" And my thing, even when I had window tint LA before we sold the business, was the idea of virtual consultations. Like
Sure.
LA people are just they want they're willing to go up and beyond as far as like willing to adapt technology. They like convenience. They're all about it. So to me, I said there is going to be a time where we can do that, and how's that going to happen? It felt like one of those things like you're early on the technology and the adaptation, but like why not? It's coming eventually, and I didn't think it would be this soon, and I had no idea it would be related to a virus, like zero.
Oh, sure.
So, but with that said, I feel like we already kind of had the thought rolling there and the ball rolling. So that's kind of something that we are working on, which is just different ways that we can implement, make it really convenient as a TintWiz user to, have some sort of virtual consultation with the customer. And aside from that, as far as like TintWiz users, we've I feel like it gave people time to dig more in and like kind of get more used to new processes. And it seems like some shops really embraced this time and said, we're gonna fix up our shit. Like we're gonna like get our
Sure.
shit together. And like that, I think that's like, if you look back at it as a tint shop and you go, wow, that was like a very scary 4 months. We were terrified. We were closed for a month, then we reopened and things were slow. But maybe 4 or 5 months from then you've recovered, and you go back and you say, man, we must have lost 20, $30,000 in business, 50,000 in business. But like,
Sure.
if a year from there, 2 years from now, you're looking back and going, damn, our business has exceeded far beyond what we ever imagined it would, and it's kind of because of the things we put in place during that time, then like in my mind, you're going to go, man, I'm so glad we had that pandemic because
Oh, sure.
without it, we wouldn't have did X, Y, Z.
Right. That was kind of the silver lining, is that it was, and there's, if you, especially if you were able to get any form of stimulus or anything to kind of put a band-aid on that, that cash flow, that period of time for yourself. Yeah, that was the silver lining. Like, work on your business, your Google business listing. Like, really go in there and make sure everything's lined up nice. Take advantage of all the little features that they have in there. Yelp has a lot of free things
Mm-hmm. Yelp's added a
in there.
lot
I
of.
hate Yelp, but there's
I know
what's
they have
that?
a lot of cool free things in there, and then they also have some great add-ons that are like $15 or $10 and so on. And again, if it's a
Super
market
reasonable.
that, yeah, if it's a market that like it works for you and you're able to make some money from Yelp customers, then like this is a good time to jump in and see those new things they added because they do require a couple clicks to activate them.
And that was really easy to do. I did that myself. I just had dead time where the phone wasn't ringing, and there wasn't anybody walking in the door, and maybe 2 or 3 hours I spent just like you said. There's that add-on. It was just a couple of bucks that you
Mhm.
could have your slideshow in your full control. A couple of little features like that just when someone comes across your listing, it's not that you have to pay for the advertising or anything like that, but you have this polished storefront. And for me, I was getting a lot of terrible leads from Yelp, a lot of like low baller tire kickers.
Mhm.
And by changing the photos and putting some more information in there, it really started to filter in some better leads out of Yelp. So, yeah, for something I don't like, I'm happy with the little bit of
Well,
time that I spent
and you
to
don't, I
get
like that
the
you
job
don't
up.
like Yelp, but you're still willing to invest in it because you see the value out of it. You're a reputation company in your area, aren't you?
Right. So, the reviews in there are really good. I want people to see that. At the end of the day, they haven't approved, like, I don't know, more than 50% of the reviews. And I think that's just my pet peeve. I've got some really good ones that they,
Mhm.
kicked off, and it's just not fair. Because, I earned those, especially in the beginning too, where it really mattered.
Hmm.
But
I mean, it's one of those things too. You could look at it like maybe they only want to show fairly recent reviews. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Is that and if that's the case, is that so bad? Because I know like if I search for services, like I was searching for a product on Amazon earlier today, and the product had 13,000 reviews, and I know
no,
from other and 4.5 stars, and I know from other products that sometimes you click on it, you see high reviews and high star rating, but if you search like most recent or like you kind of go through them, you realize there's some legit bad ones in there, but there's just a lot of good ones to cover it up. And sometimes those bad ones, like they'll save me from buying the thing. I'm like, it's not worth it. So I guess what I'm saying is
sure.
I try to see like what those reviews are. So I try to think Yelp is just basically saying, hey, we're going to get rid of a bulk of them and we're going to let some of them show. Now, I just, the one thing about Yelp that I think people have misunderstanding is like they do that shit to you whether you pay or you don't pay. That's the
Yes,
thing. They do
yes.
that shit
That's
to you whether you
that's
pay or don't pay. So like it might be annoying and it might suck, but it's not their way of bending your arm. It's them doing the best job they can at running their freaking review site. You know?
Oh yeah, I guess that was the frustrating time for me because when I first moved into this area, I I paid for them for advertising, and
Mm-hmm.
my very first review came in, and it was a beautifully written review. They dismissed it and put me back to a 0-star rating. So even paying, they I
No
was calling them
mercy.
after that. Like,
No
what are you
mercy.
doing to me?
Yeah.
My first review. I'm so proud.
Have
But
you have you added anything like COVID cleanly disinfectant related to your website already?
I did a I did a blog post related to it, just that I think just more so announcing we were closed when we were. But
Mm.
I did do a video, and I promoted that video, and I got 10,000 views on it through social media. And it was COVID related that we were transitioning into an opening phase, and I broke down real couple basic points, just that we were removing some seating from the showroom, and showed that we are going to clean and wear masks, and that we're asking everybody to drop their car off and give us a lot of time with it so that we can really, I guess, safely work on it and get it back to them without spreading the virus. So I made it like an announcement video.
This virus came to save everybody from the dreaded like whole like you everybody I think wishes a customer drops off their vehicle ideally, and this virus kind of just like punched them in the face. Oh, you want to wait? No longer an option.
Yeah, can't do it, man. Virus. You want to be safe.
Yep, you got to drop it off. So I think this like I think if this virus thing continues to take some legs in our society and it doesn't just kind of blow away like the wind, I think it almost brings up an opportunity for certain search terms because I feel like some people, even if it's 10% or 20%, will start searching terms like cleanest tint shop and germ-free tint shop and like COVID and like
Sure.
kind of adding some sort of like terms related to this for their tint shop because I don't know they like wouldn't you want to go to a place that is taking precautions if you're bringing your car there? Like I don't want
Oh.
somebody like germing up my car. I'm going to sit in it right after.
Well, I do have some clients that say, very explicitly, hey, I have a heart condition. I want to be careful. I still want you to do my car. How are we going to do this? So,
Yeah.
it's really important to have that, like you said, that process in place. And we may unknowingly be subject to search results. At least right now, I guess that's probably a good piece of advice for everybody right now to do a blog post on their website, put some content in there, maybe spell it out.
Think like maybe somebody searches like corona free tin shop or like COVID safe tin shop. I mean, again, you're only these are like fishing hooks.
Sure.
So like if you get one a day that searched it, that's one a day.
Oh,
You know.
for sure. And especially if you have a system in place that's going to complement that easily. I don't know. I guess it's at the end of the day, it's not too hard for us to follow the guidelines in our businesses. We're not, and this is unfortunate too. If you're in a massage or nail salon or one of those types of businesses, you really gotta come up with some like spacesuit that you have to wear to do it. I mean, at least we can
Right.
keep our distance, and we don't deal with a lot of customers face to face like a store, like a grocery store would or something like that. So, I mean, we've just got a couple people a day we could space it out. So we're lucky, I guess.
Yeah. A thing that kind of makes me nervous, like, even so it's not my problem, but as like a potential thing that business owners could experience is like, I wonder, like somebody comes into, let's use the nail business, not in shop as an example. Somebody comes into the nail
Sure.
business, they leave, they get sick 4 days later, 10 days later, whatever it is. They went to 1,000 other businesses, but they say, I got it from your nail business. And then, of course, it's not going to be that simple, but then comes under scrutiny of, well, how did your nail business, what did you have in place to
Sure.
protect the customers? And that becomes now the focus of that mess. And, like if you don't have things in place just for the sake of having them in place, it might fall under the guidelines of like negligence, I think, when it is common knowledge that this is an issue right now in society.
I would not be surprised if there was a lawsuit that set that precedent, and then
Quick.
once that happens, I mean, forget it. That really puts us at a risk. So, yeah, I guess that's another, to your point about you may not think it's a big deal,
But
wearing a
litigation
mask or
wise,
not.
liability
Yeah,
wise, it's all different. It's a whole different story. Even if an
sure.
employee was
Well,
to
and then
get
also
sick.
too for people that exactly, oh, you made me work, and you weren't careful, and now I got sick, and I got my grandfather sick, and he died, and you know,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that just you personally don't want to have that on your mind, but it's
Yeah.
something we have to. Unfortunately, we have to think like that.
Yeah.
Um, I have a friend that has 63 employees in his business, and he laid off a few people, but with the stimulus, he was able to bring people. It wasn't a window tinting business, but he was able to bring people back online, back to his business. But he had to get some attorneys involved to kind of come up with a process that was going to protect him should he bring everybody back to work and then somebody gets sick.
Hmm.
You know,
Yep.
how does that play out, and who's at fault? So
That's
you know,
worth the $500 to $2,000 that it would cost to have a lawyer kind of review and write something up. If I'm in the right range, it's totally worth it because it covers your butt. Like it completely covers your butt in a way that like, you have insurance. That's insurance.
sure. Well, I think the way that the premise that he used was that he was inviting people back to work. It was paid time off, but you're welcome to come back to work, and just kind of stage that in a way where it was not as mandatory as it was voluntary, kind of at their own risk, which is it was smart. It was a
Yeah.
smart move.
So I know you have a 12-volt background. Do you have a detailing background as well?
I did have a detailing business for a
Okay.
short period of time,
Mm-hmm.
and that was I worked. And this is what everybody that's starting out as mobile should start out leasing space from a detail business or a light business, and I paid them per car, and then I eventually was in a position where they were thinking about closing up, and I bought the detailing business, and thankfully, since it wasn't my main line of business, I was able to dump a lot of money into it, and clean it up and change the product lines, and then I within 6 months I sold that as a part of my trip down here. So it wasn't a
So,
long background.
so detailing is a business that you can easily get caught up in a lot of labor for a little money, but
Yeah,
that's obviously like as an industry, it's been transformed with the advent of ceramic coatings and then more interest in like paint correction and then paint protection. It really leads into paint protection because it's hard to protect paint without detailing in there. Are these things that you feel like you might add to your business because they're just a natural fit? Or are you trying
well,
to not?
not well for me. I don't mind the automotive tinting, even though we charge really high prices and sell really good product. It's still not as profitable as residential window tinting. So, we still, I think we offer it just almost as a not to be in the automotive arena as much as it's the first place people go when they think of window tinting. And as you can see behind me, I have the slideshow going. We really cross-sell residential. We could have somebody come in for 2 front windows on their, Range Rover, and then we're in their mansion doing, a couple hundred square feet of a high-end film. So it's a cross-selling opportunity for us. But I don't know if I want to dive deeper into that. I wanted to do a glass cleaning division.
Okay.
Which is, again, it's not a really super profitable
Foot in the
item.
door.
What's that?
It's a foot in the door, and it's also like some kind of flexibility for you to have additional staff, because they could obviously be cross-trained on film and cleaning.
And with the customers we have are mostly high-end customers, and they're generally really nice, larger homes. So there's a lot of glass square footage, so we can, the ticket is better, and the windows are easier to work with. Not a lot of French pane kind of windows, like nice bigger, large windows. And what I wanted to do, and the virus kind of stopped us from doing it temporarily, was use my huge database of satisfied residential customers and reach out to them with an opportunity to clean their glass as a residual income. And we also wanted to offer it as, hey, with your window tint installation, we're going to clean your windows for free. And that'll establish 2 things. One, a greater value to the customer because they get the windows cleaned. But second, to us, the experience of cleaning the windows on their house, so we know how to properly bid it, for repeat cleanings in the future. So we can sell that package on the back end of the window film installation. Hey, we've cleaned your windows, we've tinted your windows, and after tinting your windows, we've evaluated that this would be the contract price to clean it twice a year or however often they like. So it's kind of interested about that. The equipment getting into glass cleaning isn't very expensive overall. It's just a matter of finding the right people to do it.
So equipment-wise, what is essentially needed? Like, do you need lifts? Do you need like a lift on a vehicle or a boom lift, or?
Well, because there's not most of the windows are newer on the homes that we're working on too, or already in a decent condition. So I think a lot of the cleaning can be done with the pole fed system, and they have 80-foot carbon fiber poles that can go up to second story or higher windows, and just need a system on a truck, reverse osmosis, deionizing system to purify the water. And, I think we can do a lot of cleaning with that, reduce the amount of ladder work and hands-on stuff. I think that when you really have to get up there and get down and dirty and do some, some really intense deep cleaning, it might be like an initial service if it hadn't been done in a while. But like I said, most of the homes already have a service contract, and I think just having that good experience with us, we can hopefully kind of work our way over and do the glass cleaning. But
it feels like, why doesn't every flat glass tint company also do glass cleaning and have a glass? It feels like that, doesn't it? Kind of like it's such.
Well, they expect you to, like, oh, can you clean the outside while you're here?
Right.
You've got the tools. And it's
when you're on the second story of a house and they ask you that.
It's not a super.
Like when you're on the interior second story of a house and they're like, "Hey, can you just clean the outside too?" You're like, that's a completely different thing, right? I'm standing
here. Real quick for me.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. It's not like a genius idea. I mean, you look at the Window Genie franchise. I mean, there's already many systems in place and businesses that I've talked to a couple of tint shops that do some glass cleaning as well. So it looks like it's a good fit, and throughout the year, I think it would complement us from a cash flow standpoint. Yeah. Without like you were suggesting, diving into the automotive arena. I'm lucky. I know somebody who's amazing at paint protection film, and he's very close, and we just refer business to each other. He actually takes badges, the emblems off, the lights out, takes the wheels off, like
The whole deal.
um, wraps every edge. You can't tell that it's there. So
I would think window
that's kind
cleaning.
of how we work.
I would think like you could almost convince people to get their windows cleaned around the holiday times because they're gonna have like people over. So
Oh,
like
sure.
it's almost like once you think about it, you're like, yeah, people are coming over. I need my windows cleaned. Like, I don't want them dirty, and I don't know.
Well, and the return of seasonal customers too. That fall is usually a slower time of the year for us, but that's everybody's coming back. So we'd probably be slammed with quick cleans before people come back into their space.
So off the top of your head, what would be the next home service that you feel complements if you get past tinting, you're cleaning windows, you have room for growth, you don't want, there's no more room in the window film. What do you think would be the next best complementary home service you're already in their homes?
Other than the window cleaning,
Yep. In
uh,
addition to.
coatings. I think that's kind of a next step thing. I almost wonder if anybody's doing any exterior glass coatings. Um, I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see people talking about it, but
So
I often think about it.
in LA, we used to do, like we have like in LA, there's a lot of glass fences, and we would do
Okay.
those glass fences with Ceramic Pro Rain. It's
Okay.
it's I think they changed the name now. It's like Rain Plus, or maybe they changed it from Rain, but it was Ceramic Pro Rain, and like that's an easy upsell because like they have those glass fences either the perimeter of their like yard or they have them around their pool, and they have them in glass because they want to actually see out of them. So like if you can keep outside glass, like that glass takes a beating more than any glass. I
Oh,
think to
sure.
me that's an easy like upsell.
Yeah, and application can't be too hard to
Well,
train up on. You're not doing paint correction on it first or
yeah,
anything.
the only thing you should note is don't try and do it in the middle of the day if it's really hot out. Just like you don't want to detail a car in the sun in like 100 degree, don't do it. You can't do it on a house either.
No. Of course, I guess that's the thing about LA with the weather, though. It's pretty consistent through the year versus Florida's got the rainy season. I don't know. Um, that's something to consider too. It might be shut down for the summer with some of the glass cleaning, but hey,
Any ideas where you'd install some paint protection film in somebody's home?
yeah, why not?
I don't know. I'm just wondering. Paint protection or like anti graffiti, like they don't need it on their bathroom mirrors, I would imagine. But like I imagine like countertops. I think there's some specialty products for countertops. I don't know how the durability really is.
Sure.
Um, for
I've heard of people doing ceramic coatings on countertops,
Yeah,
just to keep it. And I could imagine, I mean, for how well it works on a car, just to, blow off the counter real quick. But
toilets,
I guess, yeah, I'm sure. What's that?
toilets need to stay clean.
Oh,
Like showers, bathtubs, and toilets. Like who likes
hell yeah.
cleaning their shower?
Well, that is definitely we have a lot of glass shower enclosures here, and that was another area that I was kind of considering as well. Is that we do work on shower enclosures a lot. There's a pretty big shower enclosure company, My Shower Door, and they refer us a lot of business because it's
Mhm.
easier for them to sell the clear glass and then have us consult with the customer and put some frosting or gradient on
Yep.
it. I always thought that was another opportunity there too to sell a coating at the
Hmm.
same time, but they also sell coatings too. So not to conflict with them, but maybe on an older enclosure we'd get the sale.
Yeah, I mean, if you like, first of all, obviously you post pictures. I've seen them of like what you do in bathrooms, and you do. I feel like an exceptional job. It's not just like basic frost. It's always like a gradient or a design or just something about it. And if as a
Thank you.
home, yeah, like as a consumer, if you tell me, hey, I'm calling you to put this design on my glass, and if you say, well, do you want to seal it or coat it? I'm going to go, yep, of course. I want to protect the amazing thing I just had custom done for me. So like
Sure.
when like who would have a deck done and then they're like, you want to seal it? You're like, nah, let it rot
That's good.
outside. It's fine. Like,
I guess that's an option too. I didn't even ever think about that. You bring up a good point. that people do. They put ceramic coatings on, a vinyl wrap and things like that. You put ceramic coatings on PPF. So um, why not? Why not the window film on the shower enclosure too? Especially, I don't know, certain ones could stain easily without it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's, I don't know if the film would accept it.
Yeah. So, so where are we going here? Oh, graphics. So you obviously you're in a lot of homes. You're in a lot of high end homes. Like, are you? First of all, as far as I know, you now plot your own frost and stuff like that. But the gradients you get printed at somewhere else. You don't print them in house, right?
Right. I use a couple people for that.
So just as an example, like if you can do it, anybody can do it. So if you're thinking you have to buy a printer to do it, what really it's easier if you don't own a printer than if you do own a printer, because once you realize how, it's not just hit print, there's so many variables and ways that you can spend hours and waste money and time. So many nights you'll spend overnight printing that anyway, point being, I think
Sure.
you're smart for doing that. Do you
Outsource that.
have you kind of thought, or do you try to upsell, or have you planned on like doing like wall murals in people's homes? Like I feel like printed wall graphics are a thing. Any?
Oh, they are. They're definitely Dynoc and those other wall covering products. Faux wood and stainless steel coatings, coverings, elevator renovation would be a thought I have. Elevators get really beat up over the years.
Yeah,
That would be a pretty easy selling point, especially some of the condominiums are really expensive.
yeah.
Multi-million dollar condos, and then you've got elevators that need refinished. That would be a uh, nice opportunity there. I don't know about uh, graphics as far as murals and the art end of it. I feel like um, that that starts to transition over into a sign shop, vinyl graphics business, and that's another complementary, business model too for anybody. I know a guy in Pennsylvania that he worked at my old business. I had sold it, and he operated it. I want to say for 2 years. His name is Ed, and he finally left. And actually, when he left a void that pretty much closed that business. This past winter. And when he went off on his own to tint windows, he also bought the printer. He bought the plotter. He spent a lot of money, but he does do a lot of signs, vinyl graphics, in addition to his window tinting. So I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, I guess, like looking at their business right now too, especially with the downtime and considering different things like you're mentioning, just to, I don't know, just to bolster our cash flow and be diversified through the year.
So I mean, when we started in LA doing graphics, like it was one of those things where we first started selling a couple jobs here and there. People, hey, do you do graphics? What do you need? And they were small jobs, and they got us the sale. So we had to take them on, and we literally went to Fast Signs to get them made, and then we had them installed. Like our
Sure.
installers would install them, but like we were outsourcing the Fast Signs, so like there was no money to be made, but it just got the sale. And then we got a big job for a supermarket to do perf on the entire supermarket. So we literally bought the printer and just started printing and laminating. And what I'm saying is, just on the momentum of the jobs, by the maybe fourth year, by the end, it was about 33% of our business.
Oh, wow.
And it just happened on its own. It just was like, do you do this? Like we had a second printer because it was like, do you do gradients? And like,
Sure.
yep, you need, like, and it just, it's such a complementary business that like it is getting into sign shop realm. But I just think any flat glass, if you're primarily flat glass, people like we would get dentists that like all day long, dentist offices, they would need frost and tint. And because you can do both for them, you get the job. Versus like, okay, you can do one
Oh, sure.
and
Oh,
something
deal
else.
with one person.
And the other thing is, there's a lot of opportunity with signage, I feel like, because a lot of people need that sort of thing in a rush. So if you're the
Yeah.
kind of business that can turn it around, you win the job just because of the rush. It's always a rush somehow with signage. We're opening, we have to get it done in this amount of time.
Well, this whole epidemic, the sign businesses killed it. I mean, every single store that had any kind of adjustment to what they were doing, everybody needed signs.
Sure.
So I'm sure they did awesome through this period, which is definitely something to say that it definitely serves its purpose, and there's a huge market for it.
Are you familiar with? You're familiar with Brad Campbell and Campbell Window Tinting?
I saw a little bit of his story that they started out like an automotive, residential, and commercial, and I think they're all commercial now, right?
It seems that way. Like they're like large commercial, and then they also do like what they call riot glass. And I think they have a couple solutions for security. They have screens. They have like a glass, and obviously they do like large commercial window film graphics, so on. I bring it up because, first of all, he did a really good job doing sneeze guards, those like plexiglass sneeze guards for people's like desks and businesses. Like he did a really good job, and I say that because he focuses on high quality of them, but they're also like, you don't have to mount them to something. They're heavy and weighted, so you could put them on a counter and you're done without having to like drill into your desk and build this contraption. But the reason I bring him up, I was just curious if you had any thoughts on, if you'd seen it, like any of the security solutions they offer, and if they are things that you thought about possibly offering, because I know they have a dealer network, or they're building a dealer network from what I've seen. And the reason I say it is because obviously, being a window film company, security film is your go-to, but it seems like they've been able to take security a few steps above just film and Dow. So I don't know. I was wondering if you had seen any of that or thought about that.
I haven't, but I would be. I'm open to everything too. And if it's something that's a growing market and they have a solution for it, I mean, why not be the first one in the area to have it? So
it seems like it's like a good, like just the fact that he's behind it and he's been so successful in the window film industry, knows that so well, and he's seen it as an add-on to where he wanted to develop these products. It just seems like, man, if you can hit a window with a bat over and over and it doesn't even crack and it doesn't even like make a mark,
sure,
got to be a market for that.
Yeah, it's I guess it's like a Lexan that you put on the exterior, some type of like polycarbonate type thing.
Seems like that. And then a screen solution as well.
So yeah, I mean, Florida, we've got, I mean, if there was a wind mitigation rating to that, and if there was a place for it in terms of hurricane protection, of course that's a dicey area. You have to be really certified and tested before you could say that. But obviously that would be a huge compliment to the impact window industry. Of course, I guess that brings up another opportunity for people too. Just glass in general. There's a lot of money to be made with windows and glass. Some people do that. I think some people do some automotive glass in addition to window tinting too.
It's an incredible pairing. Whether it's flat glass or it's automotive glass, it's an incredible pairing for window film. It's just another specialty, another trade you have to learn. But at the end of the day, I don't think you have to learn it. You just have to hire somebody on your staff to do it, and that takes away the feeling, because the initial feeling I get is always like, wow, I don't really know that much about glass to be doing it.
Sure.
But yeah, that's fine. You hire somebody who does know glass and has years of experience.
Right, and they tell you what you need to do and the tools that you should be using and help you build your process.
Yeah.
So
that's a really great one.
Yeah, I think this is good. I don't know. This is a nice conversation. I like thinking about, different additional things, because diversification is really huge. And I think, that's probably part of our survival too, is the diversification that we've hit with window film. We have done marine, commercial, residential, and automotive. And from those four things, if we were only one, we would be, really, really low on sales. But I think there was an opportunity too, for an additional side of the business that would still excel, regardless of the market.
And you got to I feel like the more I think window cleaning, like you brought up, and glass, like these are perfect pairings. But I think you could even probably find some really interesting pairings. And something that comes to mind outside of the industry is I know somebody whose family has a yacht brokerage and then a real
Okay.
estate brokerage. And like, you know, yachts and homes are two very different things, but people who own homes or yachts own homes. And a lot of
Yeah.
times people own really like wealthy, like big homes. If you're a real estate agent, you want to be selling high dollar homes, period, because
Right.
you make a percentage. So who's got the highest dollar homes in South Florida? Well, they also have yachts. And like, I wouldn't necessarily pair them together. You'd think I'm a yacht broker. I can offer yacht cleaning, yacht restoration, yacht servicing, captains, this and that. But like, how about you'll sell their home too, and then you'll sell their yacht, and you just keep bouncing back and forth. It's just about getting in that right circle to hit the market you want to hit that works for your area and works for, you know.
Well, that's a commendable feat to be their guy for the yacht and be their guy for the house.
Well,
Especially in Florida.
Yeah. I mean, but you feel, but like really, if you can get into one, if you get into like yachts, you're telling me once you're talking to somebody about their yacht, you can't get them to let you sell their home. Like,
Sure.
the home's going to be easy after that because you dealt with their yacht, which is like people's baby, you know?
Sure. Well, and then I guess, you know, with homes, I guess at that point, if you do have the yacht customer, then you also understand the waterways and their needs for the size of their boat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, well, here's 4 listings I want you to look at that your boat would, perfectly park at.
Yep. Or you make them feel like
deep enough, and so forth.
Or if you buy a house, you park a boat in front of their yard to show them what it looks like if they add a boat to their house, you know?
Throw a McLaren in the driveway too.
Yeah, they definitely do that on TV for listings. I don't know. I've never been to one like that, but you might as well.
Yeah, the really, really high dollar listings.
Get people riled up. So one last thing I wanted to ask you was I saw a little while back you were testing a lot of window films, like
Yes.
a lot of window films. Now, I'm curious where you're at with that process.
So I hate to say I've lost a little bit of momentum in that area. Kind of lost myself a little bit in that area. I was trying to. I thought I'd actually have enough time with this shutdown to tie it all together. And there's so much more I want to do with that. I guess it would one of those things like if I sold my business today,
Mm-hmm.
and was in a different mode. I mean, I would love to dig even deeper with that and really offer that missing link to the industry. I mean, the automotive industry has no third party testing agent, just an unbiased, complete outside opinion. Like, hey, here's all these films, and here's a similar scenario in which we're going to test them. And it's not, okay, there's a lot of different things that make a film perform the way it does. Absorption and reflection of heat, how it really dissipates the infrared. It's really different between films that may otherwise be similar or have a similar name. Hey, this is a ceramic. Well, what kind of ceramic is that? Are there additional infrared absorbing dyes intermixed in with that to make it perform better? I found ceramics to have corrosive metals in them, films that claim to be just hey, this is our ceramic film. And then we found, after, some outdoor testing, rust, corrosion forming on that with, newer.
Is it a film? Is it a film that you've ever installed on a yacht? Not to mention any names.
Thankfully, no, and it's not a film that we carry either. So
okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some films that are gonna corrode. But anyway, so I've got this is the leftovers here, but this is a project I had Joe work on, and he taped it off into the monitor to enter everything in.
Joe just left a comment and said, being a part in testing those films was a lot of fun and a big learning experience.
Yeah, he spent all day helping me put all this information together, and we just did two main tests. And this is, these are the results. I mean, we've got Apollo, Armolan, ASWF, Flex Films, Formula One, Cool View, even Dub IR, which not as many people talk about Dub IR, but we had some samples we got of that. Just trying to get, okay, we put this thing on the same meter. How much infrared of this wavelength goes through it? And, what's the visible light? How does it spec out compared to what the manufacturer claims on it? And there's some that are in perfect alignment with what the manufacturer has stated. And I also appreciate, I think that just the film by itself versus the film on a piece of glass, it seems like most of the manufacturer testing is the film on a piece of glass, which you'll get a little bit more infrared rejection when you do that. Ours were just loose film, and we did a heat lamp test where I know it's not a huge scientific piece of equipment, but a BTU meter, and we used an infrared bulb and a halogen bulb, and we just took different readings. But the challenge with that is that the bulb gets hotter the longer it's on. The film gets hotter the longer it's in front of it. So the meter is climbing as you're trying to do with and without film. So, we've had a kind of a complicated time coming up with ways to compare films, I guess, in an unbiased way. I wanted to do some low-angle haze tests as well. Also wanted to do an outdoor test with the sun, and that would just take, that's what I would need the time to do. And we have the sun for it here, just to have film on glass out in the sun and just do some thermal images on absorption, and also ground temperature, below the film.
Mm-hmm.
We did do some film on the glass at the shop here too, residential film, and found that the absorption rate was a lot higher on certain films over others. And those are NFRC tested films, but the absorption rate, I think, is always more of a manufacturer spec than a TSER is different. So that is a pretty good scoop on where we're at with that. And we put a lot of that together, and we've got a decent amount of data, but I don't know what it's going to take for me to really take it out as a public thing, that it's a useful thing, that people can all contribute to, maybe with a forum that they could talk about their films and their experiences, surrounding the ones that we've tested. So
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like maybe you put it out there in the sense like without any conclusion, just the data,
yeah,
just maybe that alleviates some of the future heavy listing, which would be trying to draw a conclusion from all that massive amount of data, is just putting it out there and seeing what others are able to put together. So after you've done, like, with the testing you've done, does it like reaffirm, like, do you start to see major strengths and weaknesses within some manufacturers' overall line, which then reinforce your opinion or your maybe strategy or whatever it is of like offering multiple brands of film and just, you offering the solution that you feel is best for that specific scenario? Is that did it reinforce that through this testing, or do you see like certain brands, their whole line is solid, or it's just all shit?
well, I think for me, the reason why I did it in the first place is just because I wanted to have the best possible result. I mean, that was the whole reason I started trying to test films, is that I wanted to be able to sell something to my customer and know, hey, this is blocking more heat than the other film. This is blocking more heat than what you used to have. This is blocking as much heat as any film possibly could for what your needs are. So I did it to make us a better company. And like you say, it reinforces what I choose to sell, where I choose to sell it. So if somebody wants a particular type of film for, a clear film or a lightly tinted film or a reflective film, I've already navigated, residentially through about 3 or 4 brands that I've circled around and things I really, really like about those films. And the testing helps reaffirm, like, hey, no, this on the glass, this is 5 degrees hotter than that other film. And for automotive, there's so many options for everybody, and they are so different. And there are a few surprises in there too, and also some technologies that have been around for a really long time that are still better than almost all the new films anyway. So, I mean, there's definitely some things that, some films that people have forgotten about too, like Winkos. People like, that's the forgotten child. Winkos is amazing on the numbers. I mean, the infrared that film can, I mean, it's absorbing it, but that can be blocked by that film, and they have a new version coming out. I want to say it's launching within a couple of weeks. It's thicker and more manageable, and they made some changes to the adhesive. So, I don't know. I digress. I just
They Winkos just needs a social media person and maybe like a print marketing person, because I feel like you just don't hear about them. They're just, you don't hear about them, do you?
No, it's like they're gone.
Yeah.
There's like a few of us like diehard like Winkos fans out there, and you'll see them. They'll pop up in a Facebook post like, yeah, Winkos is the best. But other than that, there's no like rep out there working the brand or working the film. I mean, you just don't see it, and it's been out forever. I mean, the film's been out a very long time, but still to this day, only recently did film companies start really tying in what I call like a super hybrid, where they've got the ceramic in the film, and then they're also using infrared absorbing dyes, which is bringing about a lot of low angle haze and off colors for films. But now, more recently, you're seeing mainstream charcoal films blocking 90 and 95% IR, and there's Winkos has been doing that this entire time, and in my opinion, in a more optically clear format. It's just green. It's a weird color. It's a weird film. It's hard to install, and nobody knows about it. So,
You know who has a really nice marketing booklet is Coolview. Have you seen their, like, somebody posted a picture today, or like I saw a picture of the big Elite book, the middle book, and then the automotive book, and like something about how they look, and like they look heavy and they look solid. They look like somebody's like they look like if you're shopping for carpet or like window coverings, and they kind of bring in a Hunter Douglas book to you, and you're like, let's look through this thing. They have
sure.
I like that. You know what I mean? Over like one loose card or like a pamphlet. To me, that feels more credible or something.
Yeah, that's samples are everything. I mean, that's it could be garbage film, but if it's like, I don't know, there's a confidence level that people have when they feel like they're spending a lot of money, and then you hand them this sample. I guess I don't know. I'm not trying to bash anybody at all, but V-Cool's marketing is very old, and V-Cool is an amazing film. You look at the specifications on it. There's not a lot of stuff that does what that film does, and then you go to hand them the sample, and it's from like 1982, and it's this just plain looking green thing. It's you're trying to tell them, hey, no, this is amazing. Believe me, it's awesome. I swear. You're stuck in a hard place. So dealers, we all need that kind of support. We need that good marketing material, because you have an amazing sales presentation, and then you flip out, like you say, like a little piece of film that's not gonna go the right way.
It really, like, it should. It's important, because I feel like people are always saying, how do I pick my film company, which company, this and that, and then as a film company, you have obviously they're putting out whatever marketing they put out, and trying to win over dealers' businesses. And I guess what I'm saying is, it's so freaking important. Like you said, the presentation of it is, it's so beyond important, both as a dealer looking to carry a film, because you have to present that film to the customer. So the better tools that the company gives you, the better you can do that job. And as a window film manufacturer, you can yell and shout specs all day. You can talk about areas and loyalty, and you can talk about it all, but at the end of the day, like, people just want to sell film, and that's that's a big part of it. That's a huge part of it that I think you you couldn't invest enough time into it. I don't think there's enough. You just got to keep pushing that mark as a window film manufacturer.
Oh yeah, and I think as a window film dealer, once you experience that level of quality in your marketing
Mm-hmm.
materials, it's hard not to use those films that are marketed really well, because the presentation is so solid to have that rapport built up with the client, and then you leave this jewel behind with them, and they're looking at your amazing marketing materials,
Every part
and
of it.
there comes Bob with his tinning truck and his, whatever film he's got, and he leaves a little cutout sample that he cut off of a roll and tapes it up on the window. It may have been a better film than what you're selling, but the customer feels like they're getting a better experience with you. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the packaging plays a huge role. Like, we know that when it comes to the products we buy, Apple spent a lot of time and effort into designing their packaging. When you're shopping, like, there's a look for a healthy food. Like, it has a certain, like, bold look, or like there's a look to, like I don't know, like manly, like new manly, like stuff. Like, there's a look
yeah,
to it. It's like a modern design, and people, I feel like, start to buy products that fit within the designs that they're used to and looking for. And I feel like window film, the fonts of the sample cards, the colors used, the weight of it all, the size of it all, they all play in there. And like you said, it that leads the way to the sale. And you know like, it just, when you talk about automotive, just even like the quality of like a wallboard compared to a shitty wallboard. Like,
oh sure, or like Autobahn and Edge, their digital one. That what a great idea. Got to give credit that Dave Kratz coming up with that, interactive, and I think that should lead the way for what people can do, even just from a pricing board. I think you did one of those, a pricing board.
digital pricing boards, you definitely should have a digital pricing board. And
Yeah,
the more you can put on digital, the better, because digital gives you the flexibility of changing it a billion times anytime you want, adding to it and so on, versus the print. Like, anytime you go into, like, you ever go into like a restaurant or whatever, and you see like stuff, like all their menus have something crossed out and like they're on the board. It's like, what are you
sure.
doing? Just like,
Print another one.
print another one. It's important.
It's even even McDonald's, they make the food look amazing on their digital boards. I mean, you don't get what's on in the little movie up there, but at least that that impression goes a
Yeah.
lot. We can learn from things like that, because that's just McDonald's.
Yep.
We're a tint shop. Why are we not doing it?
Yeah.
It's
What kills me is the concept that I don't think there's a single sample in the world for window film, for auto or flat, that on the sample or anywhere in the marketing material, there's a picture that is an actual picture of that product on the glass. Is
no.
there a car that has the window film on it in any marketing material, a home, that this is what the film looks on the home? This isn't
All
just a
right.
Shutterstock photo of a home and it's blatantly obvious. Is there one sample from one company ever that shows the product?
No, no, and that's. I guess that. I guess you remind me of something. This is and I don't know if this can show up close enough, but this is the back of our business card. And what I did was just show what we do. That we're
Right.
going to replace that old, dark, blurry, reflective window film and completely transform their view with a new, clear, modern, high-tech
and
window film.
everybody can look at that. Every one of your customers, because you're in Florida, can look at that and recognize that that is Florida. It looks like a real picture. There's tint on one side, there's not on the other. They can see that's a Florida beach. Now, if you look at a sample and you see it's a sample for American, like you're in the United States and you have a car and you're looking at a car on the sample card and it's got a European plate on it, or it's like a model you don't recognize from the US.
Sure.
Like, I don't know if that's supposed to like make you think it's fancier, but it drives me bananas. Just bananas.
And usually some like exotic thing that never even gets window tint. Those kind of cars don't come here. People don't. People are driving regular.
Okay, if
I don't know. I guess you could put.
If I'm selling automotive window film, I'm going to make sample cards. Let's say you have like, let's just use Stratus for an example. I'm going to have if I'm Lumar, I'm going to have or Formula One. I'm going to have a Stratus sample card that has all Teslas on it. I'm going to have another one that has Mercedes on it. I'm going to have another one with BMWs. I'm going to get wild with the variations of one film sample cards, because the dealers that get that in their hand and use it will blow people's mind. You're telling me you give somebody a sample card of Teslas to a Tesla owner, of Mercedes to a Mercedes owner. You don't have to do every brand, but like you can hit the big ones, and like that becomes so relatable. Even if you don't do that for all your line, you just do it for the most expensive line. If I'm looking at the lines and then I get to the most expensive and that one has my car on it, I feel like that's the one for me. I don't need the cheap one to show my car.
Sure. Here's our basic tint, and then there's a picture of their car on it.
Right. There's your, but like, I don't know. I just think it would be amazing if you could look at a sample card and go, if you could look at a sample card and see a similar home. I could look at 3 sample cards, look at a similar home, and actually see the difference of what it looked like from the outside and inside. To me, as a customer, I would think like, I could look at those sample cards the night later, 2 nights later, and go, yep, this is the one I want. Not, which one is this? I don't remember what this one's going to look like, you know? And I don't know.
Well, you bring up a pretty good point too. Imagine if you had, 3 or 4 lines of film, and then on the first board, they had like a Yaris. And then on the next board, they had they had maybe an Audi. And then on the next board, that would be funny. Like you would never sell the first one. Like and nobody would ever buy the Yaris.
No.
You could debadge it in the picture, but people will know what it is.
It should have like dents and a little bit of the paint coming off. Like in the picture, just like subtly, That'd
be awesome.
I don't know. All right. Well,
I think you're onto something.
It's getting late over there, so we could wrap this up. I really appreciate you taking your evening to do this and have this chat.
Yeah. My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me back on, and thanks for all that you do. I mean, you help more people than you know.
Well, I appreciate that, and it's my pleasure. It's one of those scenarios where I can actually say the cliche thing of when you're doing what you love, you're not working or whatever it is. Like, I'm grateful I'm doing what I love. I'm just thankful for that. And however long that lasts, that's great. I'm just, it is what it is.
Yeah. And you've gotten really, really good at it too. I think you do a great job. And, like you said in the beginning, you were doing it like a parking lot video almost to this level of quality. And I appreciate it. So
thank you. All right. Well, thank you again, Matt, and thank you for everybody for watching and listening and, being a part of this. So have a great evening, everyone, and we'll see you next week. And thanks again, Matt.
All right. Definitely. Thank you, Eric, and thank you, everybody.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.